But the good moments and bad moments, always we have all of us. So there is no manager or club like can sustain seasons and seasons and seasons and seasons and seasons, winning. Will be boring.
Manchester City have played 23 games and the rest of the top 6 have 24 to their names. But it's the citizens who are leading the table and have a 7-point advantage over second place Man United. If you look at the top 4, the coveted top 4, there's one team missing. Following the 2 Manchester clubs is Leicester City, and behind the Foxes are Chelsea. Shades of blue dominate the top 4. There should be more shades of red in there. Solskjaer's Red Devils in second place are a bit of a surprise, based on recent performances. Another team in red should be there in their stead. To stop beating about the bush, we're talking about Liverpool, the dominant side of last year, the team that made Merseyside natives believe again. After all, this was a history-defining team, firing on all cylinders and grinding out results in an impressive fashion. Jurgen Klopp's men won the UEFA Champions League in 2018-19 season and then followed it up with the elusive Premier League title. They were unbeaten for the better part of last year. They were at the top of the podium and with a significant 20-or-something point lead by the start of February 2020. Right now, they're far from their elusive heights. They have 40 points from their 24 Premier League outings and are 13 points behind Man City. If Guardiola's men win that game, the league will stretch to 16 points, and even then the gap will be less than what Liverpool managed last year. To add insult to injury, Liverpool are in 6th place, 2 points behind David Moyes' West Ham United and out of automatic qualification for UEFA competitions. Liverpool's fall from grace couldn't have been worse or more documented.
We looked fatigued, mentally fatigued, and that leads to not the best legs as well. That's how it is.
The Reds had made all the right noises in the seasons prior. They'd strengthened their squad with the right purchases and ensured that the core group of players stayed together. Real Madrid came in for Mo Salah, but their advances were rebuffed. Barcelona acquired about the prolific Sadio Mane to reinforce their troubled left flank, but they were told to look elsewhere. The preferred 11 will stay together as the club's hierarchy backed Jurgen Klopp. If the German tactician said it was daytime at 11 p.m, then Liverpool fans, players and boardroom announced in unison that it was day. If the Stuttgart native had an epiphany to call noon midnight, everyone at Anfield would start chanting that it's midnight now. Everybody backed him and they had little reason to doubt him. Klopp had masterminded a Premier League and Champions League win after losing Liverpool's best player in Philippe Coutinho. The fact that Coutinho is now an afterthought in Liverpool fans' minds shows how well the club has fared. And Klopp had changed the way Liverpool were perceived. They're still the most dangerous side while going forward, but the German has made them resolute at the back. Virgil van Dijk's addition and Joe Gomez's promotion has been a masterstroke. And how about Andy Robertson? The Scotsman was relegated with Hull, but got a new lease of Premier League life with the second most decorated team in the English top flight. He's not looked back since, and can easily claim the crown of the best left-back in the world. On his opposite flank plays a young English international who can't stop laying down assists for the forward line. Robert Lewandowski would love to play alongside Trent Alexander-Arnold, and so would Zlatan Ibrahimovic. One can only hope how devastating that channel would be if Achraf Hakimi also lined up there. It would be like having 2 bullet trains marching at max speeds without a care in the world. If the defence is eyebrow-raising, Liverpool are equally impressive in the middle of the park. Fabinho doesn't let anybody pass, and anyone who comes close is robbed of the ball. Jordan Henderson was a laughingstock after his arrival, but the 2020 English Player of the Year is vital to put Klopp's designs in motion. James Milner doesn't have the same pace that he had in his early years, but he knows how to follow commands, and he's the most technical player in the Reds midfield. To be accurate, Milner was the most technical player in midfield, but ever since Thiago Alcantara arrived, he's taken that claim. And there are utility men like Jorginho Wijnaldum, Naby Keita and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, international stars who can't claim a regular berth due to their performances of their teammates. However, it's the attacking lineup that's the most impressive of the aforementioned. There's a reason why Barcelona and Real Madrid want to dismantle the attacking Trident. If one considers Paris Saint-Germain's interest in Roberto Firmino seriously, you have the front 3 being chased by the biggest clubs in the world. Firmino doesn't score as many goals and was averse at hitting the back of the net at Anfield last time around, but he's the one who brings everyone together. And what can you say about Salah and Sane? The 2 African stars like to dribble and make a mockery of opposition defences. With support from Divock Origi, Xherdan Shaqiri and now Diogo Jota, this is a well-oiled machine that can unlock any test that's set before them. But this isn't the first time that Liverpool have been well stacked in all departments. There have been other great teams that have failed to deliver when the going got tough. Gary Neville believes the Reds always lacked a stellar goalkeeper and owe their success to Alisson Becker. The Brazilian is a force to be reckoned with between the sticks, and he's extremely difficult to get past. If the attackers don't score, the midfield can't shield the defence, and the moats manned by Van Dijk and Gomez are breached. Alisson is a reliable presence to deny the opposition. It's not a surprise that Liverpool seems to be a totally different side when he's in the starting 11. When all these pieces are together, Liverpool have shown that they're impregnable and one of the most dominating sides in England. However, these players have been playing non-stop for the better part of 3 years. They've continued with lingering injuries, but now their bodies are breaking down. And if they're not, exhaustion and fatigue has caught up with them. Mo Salah and Sadio Mane have been in their worst slump ever since they first donned the red jersey. Milner, Henderson and Fabinho have spent time on the sidelines. Van Dijk, Gomez, Joel Matip and Alexander-Arnold have all been on the treatment table. Only Robertson has played regularly, but the Scotsman is a rugged machine made by Eskimo ice picks. Alisson has had a dip in form to top it all off, and his blunders are costing Liverpool games. After such a spectacular run, he's started to turn into the error-prone Manchester goalkeeper. Not Ederson or Joe Hart. Ederson is still sublime, and Hart now plays for Tottenham, the goalkeeper for the eternal rivals, Man United. Lately, Alisson has looked like the new David De Gea, and he's doing De Gea's with far too much regularity. It's not a recent phenomenon that Liverpool have started to slack off. This was a question posed last year, but the club managed to put it off. The league was won long before the official announcement was made following the win over Chelsea. However, Liverpool didn't take their foot off the pedal. The preferred first team continued to line up week in, week out. The reserves should have gotten the chance to prove themselves, but this wasn't allowed. This is when the roots were sown, but they wouldn't surface until the start of the campaign. Leeds United exposed the reigning champions in their first game of the 2020-21 Premier League campaign. Marcelo Bielsa's men came close to upsetting their much-fancied rivals, but came up short of doing the unthinkable. Liverpool would proceed with the 3 points and grind out results, and by December they were top of the table again, but the gap with other title contenders had reduced. Tottenham have been hot on their heels, and so were Manchester United. Even Chelsea were in the contention before the slump that began in late December. All the while, Manchester City and Leicester City have both gained ground on them. They've been in impressive form. Moreover, both teams had defeated the Reds in emphatic fashion. Pep Guardiola's men have found form at the right moment, but their 4-1 win over Liverpool wasn't on the cards. The Reds were truly dismantled by their rivals in all areas of the pitch, and to add insult to injury, the ever-reliable Alisson was at fault for 2 goals. The margin of defeat would have been higher had Ilkay Gundogan converted from the spot. Many in Merseyside believed that the defeat to Man City was a blip, and Jurgen Klopp's men would rally after the result. Brendan Rodgers' men were up for a stiff task despite being at home. However, the King Power Stadium would witness one of the best, if not the best, result of the season. Jamie Vardy and company got on the scoreboard, as Alisson was again at fault. The 3-1 victory marked Leicester City's graduation into tough contenders again who can't be pushed around. On the other hand, it proved that Liverpool are bleeding, and the vultures should start to circle. This poor run of form stretches back to the end of December, where Liverpool registered draws against West Brom and Newcastle before suffering a close loss to Southampton. Another loss to Burnley followed it, and now the Reds are on a 3-match losing run in the Premier League. Klopp's charges have suffered so much, but ruling them out to make a top 4 comeback would be folly. The German tactician has forged a mentality that's not easy to break. These men have been together for far too long and are telepathically aware of their teammates. This season, they've been severely handicapped with injuries to key players. Fatigue was bound to set in the squad, and it has. They've been very unlucky, with new players taking their due time in settling. There's no denying that they can pick up from their slump. The fundamentals are there, and this squad needs slight adjustments. Klopp needs to overcome his bias of playing his favoured players and give some other squad members greater opportunities. Moreover, there's a dire need for reinforcements which are of the same quality as the established first-team players. Klopp's hand has been forced, and this might not be the case if the strength in numbers was a bit greater. Liverpool are out of the FA Cup and the EFL Cup. With the Premier League out of reach, their eyes will be on the Champions League. They can bounce back, and certainly are not like the one-season wonders that came on the pitch from the 1990-91 campaign until the 2019-20 season.
I know that a lot of people were waiting for us to slip again, and tonight the boys didn't, and so I'm really happy.